All right, everybody, buckle up. I'm about to tell you a story about a roofing company, in particular, my experience with this roofing company. And they're not just some small business, a mom and pop, something like that. They're a cross country business, and that one is Erie Metal Roofing. So I'm going to walk you through my story where I feel like I've kind of been wronged, and I want to just put it out there to the world so you can make your educated decision as to whether or not you want to use them as your roofer. If I'm looking over here, it's because I have notes over here. That's how long and detailed this process has been. I needed notes. So let's start at the pricing. So my roof was leaking. I needed a new roof and I really wanted it in the wintertime. And there was very few contractors that were willing to do that besides Erie Metal Roofing. So when they came out, they were nice enough, but they really, kind of used some of those classic marketing tactics, which I fell for, admittedly, telling me it's a one-time deal, it's not going to last long. The guy who came out did the classic, oh, let me go out to my truck and, call somebody else and see what I can get approved. And then he came back and told me, what it was going to be worth. And I'll be very upfront. I spent over $30,000 on a roof. Yeah, you heard that right. 30,000. And in my mind, I was okay with paying more, given that it would be a write-off for a deduction, because I rent part of this home, and also because it comes with a 30-year warranty, the roof, not the house, the roof, which I figured would increase the home's value because, as they put it, it would actually transfer to the next owner, whoever purchased it. So I thought, that was okay with me. It was a lot of money, but I was like, it's a 30-year warranty. And, to be completely honest, I was talked into it a little bit. And, morality aside, you can determine if that is against me or against the company. You decide. Point is, I did it. So now here we are. And I also just want to put in there, I don't fault the guy, the worker. He was doing his job. Don't be angry at him. So let's skip to the roof installation. So now we're in December and early January. So late December, early January. They come out, start working on the roof. The install manager, for one, was never present. I just want to be completely upfront. The install manager never came to my house one time. They damaged my yard. They left massive ruts. They went in my neighbor's yard. And I told them ahead of time that they should not go into my neighbor's yard. She's very protective of it. And that's her prerogative. If you're a homeowner, you understand. So, by the end of the project, I'd asked 3 separate times for them not to go in my neighbor's yard. But every time they went in there, it just didn't seem to matter to them. And I talked to my install manager about it, who again never came out to the house, and he said, oh, don't worry, Mr. Andrews, I'll fix it for you. Never happened. So now we get to finalizing. They finished the job, they finished the install, did the damage to my yard, left stuff all over my yard. And I have to sign for completion. And so I'm told, Mr. Andrews, and here's my quote, we need you to sign this document saying that the pickup is sufficient so the project can be completed. I know that you'll be hesitant, but there's no way for us to pick up the debris in the yard. And I promise you, that was the verbiage he used, Mr. Andrews, that we'll have you on the cleanup schedule for the first thing in the spring. I was told the spring, not the summer. I just want to put that out there. And, I just also want to preface this. It's a long story. I didn't get my yard picked up until June 1st, after speaking to a regional manager. If that tells you where the story's going, then just like I said at the beginning, buckle up. Now we get into the good stuff. So I have called a total of 31 times, and that includes some incoming calls, and that also includes some multiple calls on the same day, admittedly, but it shouldn't take 31 phone calls for me to get through to these people. So I'll leave a list of dates and everything in the description of the video. I'm going to leave phone numbers out for confidentiality reasons. That's not my place to disclose that, but you can look at the dates because it's completely legitimate. I have it logged in my phone. And suffice to say, I was calling weekly, sometimes bi-weekly, for months. And you have to get across, and you don't have to get across to the correct person. You have to navigate their phone tree. So you're not going to just call up a number and immediately talk to somebody. No. You got to navigate the phone tree. And there's a few caveats to that because, why not leave a message? Well, I did. And they only returned one call. So of all the 31 that I left, I had one return call when I left multiple messages. And then that gets to the point of what about the install manager? So if you're having problems with the phone tree, go directly to the install manager. Believe me, Karen, I tried. I really did. So let's talk about him. Obviously, I'm leaving out his name. So I tried to start the process with him because that's what was recommended. And, he runs the whole Rochester district. He was relatively responsive during the install, so I figured it would be a great place to start. And, look, I'm sure this guy's got a lot on his plate. I understand that. There's probably pressure from somewhere else. I get it. But just to give you a few examples, here's kind of where it started. On April 27th, I messaged him a text message. No response. Later in the day, he calls me only because I went through the main line and they were getting on his case about not getting back to me. So skip forward because he told me he was going to come out May 5th. No response. May 6th. No response. And then later in the day on May 6th, I was called and connected with a regional manager who responded immediately telling me that there was a mix-up. And you know what? I understand. He gave me a very reasonable story. I believed it. I felt like I wasn't being put off at that point. I feel like I understood. But then he proceeded to leave me in the dark again because he told me I was on the schedule, quote unquote. Those were his words, not mine, on the schedule, only to not have his team show up. So apparently I wasn't on the schedule. So it was at this point that, I'd practically given up with these predatory or maybe simply neglectful practices to stop them from coming to my home to pick up a mess from January, and now we're in mid to late May. I don't know about you, but 5 to 6 months later seems completely unreasonable to me. And not to mention, there's a warranty on this house. There's a reason that I spent all the extra money for this install. I wouldn't have done it if I had known this was going to be my experience. And, call me naive, but again, I had my reasons listed earlier. You can go back and listen again. So finally, I send the install manager a message on the 26th of May, telling him at this point, I'll just hire my own landscaper. I'll hire my own crew to come out here, pick it up, and I'll send him the bill. Never messages me back. So I've been ghosted, 4 times now? 5? So finally I call on the 26th, same day, demanding to speak to someone, anyone who could help. And the lady I spoke to summed it up beautifully. She said, wow, I wouldn't be able to compose myself as well as you are. If that was my house, I probably would have taken much more drastic action sooner. That's a quote from her. That's not me. That's her. So she connects me to the regional manager again on the same day. And guess what? I get my yard cleaned. But not because I went through Rochester, because I had to go through Syracuse. That's right. They couldn't accommodate me in Rochester. They had to send the Syracuse team. Syracuse. That's like 2.5 hours from my house. So I don't know if it's just the Rochester district, but the fact is it got cleaned up once I escalated it to someone much higher. But this is 5 months later. So that also left out the landscaping, however. And that's because prior to this, I told the person I was speaking to on the phone that I wanted a certain standard of pickup. This is when I was told I was on the schedule and they never came out. Well, that was because they were going to come out and assess it and see what needed to be done, etc. And they never came out. So I was told, well, if you feel more comfortable, you can call your own place. You should call yourself. So what did I do? I said, sure. I'll call myself, because I told them if it wasn't up to my standard, if the yard was not done to my standard, they were going to be back out and fixing it again. Homeowners, again, I'm sure you understand. It's your home. It's your yard. They messed it up. It is their machines that did it. Not mine, not me, them. So now I'm in the process of calling all these different landscaping companies, getting quotes, and trying to connect with the regional manager yet again, who at this point did finally message me back, but it took about, 5 hours to message me back. So, takeaway, don't use this company. Everything I stated here is factual. It's on the timeline, let's call it. These are all things that I experienced, and my opinion is don't use them, but everything else that was listed is factual. So you make your own decision based on what I am perhaps recommending. And these are direct references. I have a full detailed list of conversations I'd previously been on. Don't let them rope you in. Don't let them do the car salesman to you. Don't let them hit you with the 30-year warranty and, reduce cost of install. And they walk out to their truck and they come back and, all of a sudden it's a reduced price. No, don't fall for that stuff. Walk away. Walk away. Don't do it. That is marketing like 101. Now that I've educated myself more on it, that's very common practice. It's like a scarcity argument. It's not going to be here forever, so you got to do it. Don't fall for it. Speak to a local business. Speak to a private contractor. They'll give you a quote that's 50% or less, I guarantee you. And those are the people that need the money way more than this large corporation. So that's it. That's the story. You make your own decision. You figure out if you want to use them. Again, I'll leave the call log down below. It has a full list of calls from the 27th of April through the 27th of May. It was a full month of me trying to call. And yeah, a full 5 months of me waiting. So hopefully I had to only bite the bullet and learn the lesson so you don't have to. If you're going to be purchasing from Erie somewhere else in the United States, maybe you'll have a different experience. But at least in upstate New York, I wouldn't trust them. So that's it. Thanks for listening. Hope it helps. Find a private contractor, support your small business. And I'll see you guys, I don't know, maybe next time.